Hello, everybody. Welcome to the 12th episode, I believe, of Bottom Dweller Banter. Hope everybody's doing it well. It's recording on the weekend. Hopefully, this gets out at the same time. How are you doing, man?
I'm good. I right before this, I went for a swim and I snorted water like an idiot. The first time was 2 days before this. I snorted water quickly because I'm swimming and I smell someone's delicious barbecue in the outdoor pool. And I decided that, oh, I really want to get a better whiff of this. So I proceeded to snort water while I'm underwater, and I come up, you see this chubby guy coming out of the water just coughing. No one's there. It's just me. I'm just coming out coughing, just clearing my nose because I snorted water in.
I can picture that. Yeah.
Oh, just awful. Not a good sight. But yeah, how you been, man?
Doing all right. I'm actually kind of glad that my lighting is really poor right now because my room looked like an atom bomb went off. I just came back from work too, and I basically ordered a computer desk and a TV stand because I don't know if you noticed, you could see it in my previous episodes, or actually you haven't been to my place yet, so you'll get to see the whole thing. My computer desk was actually an outdoor picnic table, and my TV stand was actually a shoe rack.
What? I had no idea.
Yeah, so I got a good setup going on. I'm halfway through. I got the computer all set up. Just as I plugged in the Ethernet cable and I started recording this episode with you, so came kind of clutch. Uh, Actually, the Ethernet cable is lying on the floor right now, so I haven't even routed it yet. Yeah, it's a
Oh,
mess. It's a mess. So I'm glad that we're in the dark
that we
right
shoot
now.
in the dark?
Yeah,
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 that's where it comes in handy.
yeah. That's what's going on with me.
Oh my God. Oh, before I forget, I'm getting dosed tomorrow. Well,
Dosed.
yeah, I'm getting dosed with the second dose of that
Oh, you're getting
COVID-19.
the other half of the microchip.
Yeah, I'm not getting any drugs injected in me, but I'm getting the tower installed, the
Yeah.
second part of the tower installed. People, it's the Pfizer vaccine. Anyway,
Okay.
just to, so people are like
The
not jump.
the
They're
allegory
like,
was
what is?
getting.
Yeah, they're like, what is going on? They're jumping around. What are they saying? It's the Pfizer vaccine. So yeah, so
Yeah.
hopefully I won't get destroyed from it, and yeah, we'll see how that goes. Finally,
Cool.
yeah, I'll throw us in then because there's a
Yeah,
lot
get
to
it
talk about.
started, man.
Right off the bat, I'm sure a lot of people out there know that Loki, Marvel's TV series on Disney Plus is coming out, or it's already out. It came out June 9th, and so reviewers and critics, those guys got 2 episodes, which is great for them, of course. We peasants, we get 1 episode, but honestly, I can't complain and I won't complain because I'm a big fan of watching an episode and waiting for the next and not having it all at once. I prefer that personally. Um,
Debatable, but okay.
I think you make a good point when you say that. I think maybe it depends on the series, because some series just don't do well with that. You're supposed to see them all at once. Uh, I remember thinking that way with The Boys. I think a few of those episodes, I'm like, you should see them in succession. Anyway,
Yeah.
Loki's 6 episodes overall. The finale's July 14th. There's rumors that I've read and heard about of a potential second season, but we're gonna see if that's a definitive end to the show, to the Loki series, when the
Right.
time comes. Now we could sit here and theorize, but there's honestly no point. The show's out already, it's coming out, so please go see it. I saw it in two halves over 2 days. Like I watched half one day, half the other day. I loved it. I loved it more than WandaVision and Falcon and the Winter Soldier, so take
Really?
that for what it is. Yeah, take
Because
that for what
Falcon
it
was
is.
really well received, right?
I enjoyed it too. I loved it. Loved it more than WandaVision.
Yeah.
Maybe people don't agree with that, but that's just me. Um, and yeah, anyway, are you gonna check out Loki or is that not your ballpark too much?
I have other stuff, mostly anime, to catch up on, but yeah,
There.
it's interesting that it's a six episode. That really tells me that there's really no consistency in the format of these TV show adaptations, which
Oh,
means that they could have potentially shrunk WandaVision to whichever size fits best. That's the I haven't seen it personally. That's the complaint I heard, right? That the last few episodes go on too long. Uh, yeah, that's interesting. No, I thought 8 episode was the standard, or 10 maybe, but it looks like anything goes from what you're telling me.
Feels
So
like it,
yeah.
and I don't know. We'll see how this goes. I've had pacing issues with WandaVision big time, but I think the first two episodes of Loki are like 55 minutes, 54. Not bad, right? That's
Okay,
solid. You're
that's
getting a
not bad.
lot. Yeah. So anyway, this is going to be a bit of a wrestling heavy podcast for those who like wrestling or used to watch it. But I do want to talk about a few things. So if you watch WWE, as I have, I did consistently up until a few years ago. WWE does this classic thing every year where they release a batch of people out of the blue. Now these are out of the blue because I say the word out of the blue because of who was released from their contract. They say released. That's a nice way of saying you got fired.
Oh, I see.
Um, yeah, that's the corporate nice language. We wish you your best in your future endeavors. It's the classic statement
Right,
that they put
right.
out on their website. So they released two prominent people. And these are newer generation wrestlers, newer superstars. Braun Strowman, who was a WWE champion last year, which is crazy to me. Like that guy was a champion and he was in a storyline right now. Same with Aleister Black, not a champion, but he was in a prominent storyline. And they just fired them.
That is pretty
Unbelievable.
wild. Yeah.
And I'm not discounting the other people that got fired too. There was a couple divas that got fired, and Lana being one of them, I believe. That being said, this sort of segues into like these firings sort of segue into this idea that, or rumor rather, that WWE is going to be bought out. So let's dig a bit. Let's dive a bit deeper
Whoa.
into like this rumor. So it's a rumor that WWE is it for sale? Is it not? We don't know. And these rumors have been like swirling around since January 2021. Because WWE announced, and this is where I scratched my head because I didn't know this existed. WWE announced that its WWE Network streaming service would be, which I've had for a little bit of time, by the way, here and there, just to watch a pay-per-view. They're going to be migrating to NBC's Peacock streaming service, and I'm like, I had no idea that Peacock was even a streaming service that existed. I had no
Peacock.
idea.
Why do I feel
Yeah,
like we've brought that up before?
I don't think we
Uh,
did, truthfully. I'd
Peacock.
like to. I'd like
Maybe
to
not
like
not on the show, but I think we off the show we
maybe we have, but
something big was on Peacock. Well, anyways,
yeah.
okay.
So I do want to say Dave Schilling, who's like a former writer, because writers at WWE they have a big hand in like the stories that you see play out on television between wrestlers. So he wrote. He's a former writer, not current, obviously. He said you don't really cut like talented assets on that level that they just did unless you're like trying to maximize your profits before a sale, right?
Hmm.
That's what he thinks. This was tweeted out by him. And really, let me just cover quickly stuff about Peacock. So WWE Network, which I think was first announced in 2011, and then it became a thing in 2013, early 2013 to mid 2013, I think. Um, so basically, that network dismantled its U.S. operations to start 2021, and it ended up signing with Peacock. Now, the whole idea is now that they signed with Peacock, that move will provide live WWE events, so like Raw, SmackDown, and their classic wrestling library. So you know how they bought out WCW, they bought out companies, right?
Right.
WCW, ECW, all those matches, whatever interviews that you saw there, all of those are going to be moving to a library for those Peacock subscribers. Um, I'm still gobsmacked that that's even a streaming service that existed. I had no idea. But back to the firings, though, I just want to say it's pretty weird stuff when you just consider how, you know, up until now, up until at least January, we can say safely, WWE was signing their stars to these really juicy contracts to keep them from jumping ship to a new competitor called AEW Wrestling, and which is, I believe, All Elite Wrestling. Please, I hope I'm not wrong when I say that off the
Okay.
top of my head. And so the whole idea was this big competitor comes in with a lot of financial backing and can go head to head with WWE, not head to head on the same night, but they're a competitor and a viable competitor because they have a good mix of old and new superstars, which I'll talk about, or wrestlers. WWE calls them superstars, they're really just wrestlers. Anyway, people know Vince McMahon got weird about the whole semantics behind that, but
Hmm.
nonetheless, um, it's really weird because you would think that to keep those talented assets from moving, you wouldn't fire them like that, right? So maybe there is validity. Maybe WWE is in fact for sale. I don't know. Does it surprise you? I know like you're not totally um into wrestling as much as I am, but does that surprise you? Such a big corporation and a publicly traded company too, keep in mind.
Does it surprise me? Not as much. I see this as Vince McMahon, if he still owns it. Am I correct in that assumption?
Yeah, he
I
owns it.
see I see this as him cashing out. Um, to me, it feels like this might be controversial, but it feels like not as many people are into wrestling these days. The golden era, you can certainly say the golden era is past. That might have been us growing up,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
or even if you want to argue the Hogan era.
That was a true golden time. The 80s was a
Yeah.
pop-in time if you were a
Then
wrestling fan.
then we
Yeah.
would be the silver age or whatever. Yeah, I see this as him cashing out. I don't really see the next generation being too interested in pro wrestling. They seem to be more interested in mixed martial arts and UFC and all that.
Yeah.
That's kind of
Yeah,
what the focus is shifting to. I know it's a different thing, but yeah, it
and
doesn't surprise me as much to answer your
yeah,
question.
Vince is super old. When you said cashing out, I'm like, now that I think about it, Vince is super old. Makes you wonder if he's just tired. Like, I don't know.
Yeah,
Or I don't know what it's gonna entail. Like they get bought out, what's gonna happen? I don't even know. Like I got no idea. But he's such a workhorse where it's hard to tell. Who knows? Is Triple H, Triple H is married to Stephanie McMahon. Is he gonna lead the company? I don't know.
I'm
It
surprised
could
he's
be the
still
it,
around. That's a name I haven't heard in a while.
Triple H is still around, man. He's just not wrestling, but
Okay.
or he wrestles very rarely, seldom. But nonetheless, like when you say cash out, I'm like, I wonder. I really wonder if he's just super tired.
Yeah.
But speaking of wrestling, now if you like basketball out there, Shaquille O'Neal wrestled about like what 3 months ago on AEW
Oh
TV.
God.
I have to talk about it. It's great. So first off, like I saw the match. I had to see it because I love Shaq, and he did a pretty great job for someone his size. He did a great job. It was a mixed tag team match, meaning one male, one female partner versus a male and female partner, right?
Okay.
Against and Cody Rhodes was on the other side of this, and the female wrestlers I'm unfamiliar with because I'm not as in the loop with AEW.
Okay.
Um, Nonetheless, so apparently on Inside the NBA, which I think is on TNT, like
Yeah.
Shaq was talking about how he hurt his rotator cuff a little bit
Oh,
because
okay.
they did a table thing where Cody cross bodies Shaq off the ring through a table, and you can see Shaq like tapping Cody, like yeah, he's like, I think I'm hurt. Like I think that's what he was like telling him
Yeah.
based on his body language. And this is what he said on Inside the NBA, like the fact that he hurt his rotator cuff, not the stuff that I said about him tapping him. Nonetheless, keeping in mind it was a tag team match, so Shaq didn't have to do everything. But
Right.
I do want to say, before we get into some other news, if you were like a huge fan of wrestling in the past, you know how we were talking about like the pop in time to be a
Yeah.
wrestling fan,
Yeah.
Stone Cold Steve Austin, The Rock, the edgier wrestling time when wrestling
Yeah.
would do crazy, just the
John
most
Cena and Randy Orton eras.
even that
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah, ruthless. That was like the ruthless aggression era. They called it
Yeah.
2002 to 2006, which I
Oh yeah.
loved because that was stuff that we were like that was stuff that you and I knew the most of, like
Yeah.
that era. Um,
And an interesting coincidence, I think some of the best games also came out of that era.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, the SmackDown Here Comes the
Oh
Pain.
yeah. That one.
Oh, dude, guys, like we talk about gaming a lot here. If you want a good wrestling game on the PS2 or just in general, SmackDown Here Comes the Pain has to go down in the Hall of Fame of wrestling games. It is
Yeah.
so good. So good. It's fast-paced.
Yeah.
The graphics for its time are solid. I'll just gush about that game. It's beautiful. Great game. Um, but yeah, so if you were a fan of wrestling in the era that we were talking about, right? Like 2001, 2002, 2000 and up to '06, that's when it was
Right.
like grittier.
Right.
'07 was like when you could smell it was changing. It was like, ugh, I didn't
Yeah.
that's when I started to get iffy on it. But nonetheless, if you like that stuff, then I could recommend, if you guys don't like WWE now, check out AEW, give it a chance. Do I watch it every week? I can tell you honestly, no. It's tough. There's so much content out there. Wrestling is one of the hardest things to keep up with consistently. Nonetheless, I've seen matches, I've seen clips, I've read articles of current storylines, I've listened to interviews while I like do my vacuuming and cleaning.
Right.
So I keep up, right? And I listen to like wrestling newsletters that when they talk about stuff and uh I love everything that I hear about it for the most part, and I can recommend it. It's got of new and old talent. The ratio is more to new to old talent right now. Big Show, for God's sake, came to AEW. He left WWE, came to AEW.
Wow.
Yeah, Big Show. Chris
Yeah.
Jericho came to AEW, and he was the champion for a while. So, y- it's got a great mix of old and new, and I think the listeners here and the viewers, for those who watch this live pod on YouTube, give it a try. It's a grittier take on pro wrestling, and it might be up your alley. And if it's not, then so be it. But man, like I have to tell you, now that you mentioned it, you brought it up, that 2008 PG era of WWE,
Yeah.
that was not fun to watch.
Yeah.
In comparison to what they had in '06, not fun to watch.
Yeah.
But that's really the wrestling news. Because we don't know, maybe our viewers also like to watch some pro wrestling, or they used to. So, hey, thought I'd bring it up. But I'm gonna throw it over to you. I know you got some
Cool.
gaming
Thank,
related
thanks for
news.
bringing us up to speed with wrestling. I've been out of the loop for a while, so that's good to know.
No problem, man.
Anyways, first bit of gaming news that we got here on this show. Overwatch gets crossplay between PC and consoles, further proving that you really don't need to aim in that game to play well. I'm just kidding, guys. this is
Jesus.
this is a good thing overall. I am a huge fan of crossplay. I know I don't care if it doesn't make sense from a competitive angle. Sometimes you just want to play with a friend, and for me, I'm burned out on Overwatch ever since every fucking character had a shield. So I'm really not interested in that game anymore. But I see this as a good move. This might even I know Call of Duty has been doing this recently, and obviously all the battle royale games. I don't care about those, but this is a good trend. I think Rocket League was one of the first big games to kind of embrace crossplay,
Yeah, and it
and
was dope. Yeah.
ironically, most people expected Nintendo to be the last to adopt it because they're so odd about this stuff, but it was actually Sony that held out the longest.
Did I say
Nintendo
something quickly?
Nintendo embraced crossplay. Yeah.
Sony's been a bit you and I have talked about this even off the podcast.
Sony's
Like,
been very anti-consumer these days,
yeah. Yeah, it's
surprisingly,
insane.
but they're refusing to make older games available on the market, even games that they own that they don't have to license. Yeah,
Yep.
yeah, really odd. But
Yeah.
yeah, overall, good news. Too bad I don't care about Overwatch that much. I'm sure this means something to someone.
It means a bit to me, but not much, and it's that game is they've tried to deal with the shield stuff. I still play it here and there
this
once in a while, but
this was my how do you say it? This was my appreciation for that game as it came out. Like this,
yep.
everything that they did was with each iteration of Overwatch, it just went
No,
down for
it's
me.
every patch and
Yeah, yeah.
adding characters and the changes that were just not reasonable, and I just
I
felt like it really started
yeah
to hit the low point when a broken character called Brigitte came out.
yeah.
That was
Another
hell,
shield character.
hell on
Yeah.
earth, dude.
Like we don't. Every character is a fucking shield. It's the same problem that League has, where every character has a fucking stun or root. It's
Is that
it's
the current case with
ridiculous.
League? What you just said? Like,
It's
I'm
what
not
it's
familiar
what
with
I
League.
think. I'm obviously a very not a high level player. That's just what it looks like to me. I'm sure in the competitive scene it's way different.
Yeah,
Yeah.
gotcha.
I remember when we used to play together, and I think it was a bit simpler too because there weren't as many characters. Yeah.
Yeah, it was but then it's just I think you and I both talk about this. We just don't like one part of Overwatch, which is
You
You're
have to
almost
play
edging
a character in that map.
very much,
That
and
is,
otherwise you're throwing and you're a
yeah,
piece of crap.
exactly,
And
exactly.
I just
You
wish
you 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 have to play this one protocol in that map, or you're giving you give up basically.
it's like it's very much counterplay the
Yeah,
game, like counterplay the game. Like for example, okay, I'll cite a fighting game example. Street Fighter 4 up until like Ultra was like you would just counterpick people.
yeah,
Like you would sit at the menu and counterpick someone.
yeah,
Like they played like if they picked Zangief, you would pick Sagat. Sagat would poop on Zangief.
yeah,
Easy. So but then in Overwatch, we've talked about this and we don't like it. It's like if you're playing Widow and they're playing Winston,
yeah,
you gotta switch. And
yeah.
what
You
if
gotta
that's your
switch.
best character and that's your bread and butter? Widow's
You
your bread and butter? Sorry, man.
you
Sorry, Charlie.
you can't just play a character that you enjoy or that you just have good muscle memory with, just
Otherwise
because.
you lose, basically.
Yeah,
Like it's tough,
it
man.
sucks.
I don't like it. But yeah,
The
that's my thought.
the other not as major issue that I had with Overwatch is they don't make the support characters as fun, and it's not the mentality I have. I think I love playing support in other games like League of Legends, but in Overwatch it just never never connected with me.
Gotten better, but it's still I think the issue lies I will side with the tanks. The tanks are not as they're not fun to
Yeah.
play.
Okay.
The
Yeah.
tanks are where you really are eating it.
Yeah.
And guys, I know we're not pro Overwatch players. We're not
No, no,
as
don't listen to us for pro
yeah,
Overwatch
these are
advice.
just our thoughts, man.
Yeah.
Like don't take it like too serious. But
Yeah.
yeah, tanks are not fun to play, and they're trying to change that in the second game. So let's see how that goes. I don't know.
Yeah. Because on one end you have okay, a DPS that's sniper. That's always going to be fun for me. For a PC shooting game, snipers go to. Then you have this cool time traveling chick, and it's a cool character's design, you know? And
Yeah.
then I also always thought interestingly the coolest designs were the DPS characters, and the support characters were they were okay, you know, from a
Yep.
character purely aesthetic character type of
If
point of
we
view.
rank like the variety, obviously the DPS are at the top, then it's
Yeah,
the supports, then
yeah.
it's the tanks being. It's not that there's no variety with the tanks, just they're just not as fun to play.
It's just
That's
yeah, it's not
yeah.
as balanced as they would like to think that it, it is.
I'm just
Anyways,
yeah. Anyway,
that's enough shitting on Overwatch. I think we might have lost whatever potential audience we might have had from that group.
some listeners are probably like, "What the heck?" Anyway,
Yeah. Okay. Next bit of service. Paramount Plus is a news subscriptions streaming service that's gearing up for summer release with new content plans and a new low cost subscription. $5 a month apparently. By the way, that doesn't mean anything. Netflix started at what, $9 a month. This is a common business tactic to lose money in the initial years too, just so you can gain
yeah.
market share and then increase
Yep.
price, like exactly what Netflix is doing.
Yep.
The funny thing, aside from now we have a billion fucking streaming services and it defeats the whole point of cord cutting, because you're paying just as much if not more at this point. The funny thing that I found about this article is what it has to offer. uh, Usually when you start a streaming service you want to have a home produced show, something big, something with a big property, this is what Paramount Plus has to offer. Okay, we got Paw Patrol the movie
Oh, oh my God.
on
Okay,
August 30. Okay,
keep going.
solid. New iCarly. Okay. I, yeah, that's exactly my reaction to that.
Okay.
RuPaul's Drag Race. I'm sure that means something to someone. Um,
I don't know.
and a Star Trek show, which might be the highest profile show on this lineup so far. You got a now I'm straying from the article and looking through the screenshot that I have here. You got NCIS, if you're a boomer. You got Young Sheldon, which I'm sure someone thinks is funny. Yeah. I at
I
$5 a month, this is simultaneously the cheapest service, but this is also probably the worst offering that I've seen yet.
Can we just go back to channels or what? Like, what's the point? We might as well go
I'm
back.
ready. I
I'm
mean,
ready. Go back to channels,
I,
dude. Let's go.
I
Come
just
on.
need one streaming service, which might just be Amazon, just because I already have Prime, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
And then
That's fair.
the other thing, I just need to watch sports basically. I don't really care about the other channels, so maybe I'll just
Okay.
get a sports subscription, a TSN or something.
Yeah,
I don't need to
you
get
can
all
do
these
that.
fucking. But maybe I'll cycle, you know, one for 1 month I'll cycle Amazon Prime, then I'll cycle Netflix just to catch up.
You
You
could do
know,
that. Yeah, it's
yeah,
viable.
that's
Yeah.
a like this shit is ridiculous. How many do we have now? Streaming services? How many
What?
big streaming services? We got Netflix, Amazon,
Uh,
Hulu, HBO
Hulu,
Max, our biggest rival.
H HBO
HBO
Max.
Max, yeah.
Which,
Dis
guys, by the way, there's a lot coming out for that. We can talk about
yeah,
later. Keep going.
anyways. Disney Plus, uh Peacock,
Yeah.
which I still can't believe.
Cannot
You know how
believe
some
this shit.
countries don't recognize the other countries as independent? Like that's me with with Peacock. I don't recognize it. We
Oh my
got
God.
we got this Paramount Plus shit.
Oh.
What else am I missing?
No, there's more.
Uh, what's the one with the Adult Swim and shit? I think that's
Ah.
Hulu.
Yeah, I think that's Hulu.
And then you get
Listen,
into
this,
shit where half of these, I'm being generous, half of these are not even available in Canada. So if you're in Canada, what are your options? You got Crave. Fucking great. $20 a month for half of HBO Max.
Crave, that's right.
Great fucking deal.
Crave
Thanks.
TV.
Thanks, Bell.
Yeah, thanks, Bell.
Yeah.
Thanks for overcharging on my bills for too long.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's
So,
another story.
anyways, I don't have much to say. I guess hop on Paramount Plus if you want to catch Paw Patrol when it premieres. Paw Patrol the
Oh,
movie.
oh my God.
Yeah. Fucking.
Didn't Paw Patrol get lit on fire on social media for something? Don't you remember?
I don't fucking know, man.
Listen, I don't even know if I want to cover it. People probably look it up if you're interested. Like, what? They got lit on fire? Yes. Go, I swear to God. Anyway, moving on.
Okay. In more interesting news, speaking of streaming services, Rick and Morty season 5 guest characters announced. Not characters, I mean the voice talent. And this actually caught me off guard. Rick and Morty always had some really good guest characters. I feel like, but this rotation is really interesting. Sam Neill, whom you might know from Jurassic Park, John Oliver, uh,
Oh.
Nathan Fillion.
Ooh.
Okay.
Okay.
Lots of video game credits with that guy. Uncharted, I
Mm.
think, being one of the bigger ones. Um, Keegan Michael Key from Key and Peele and Jordan Peele, the duo. And
Nice.
I'm really hoping they're together. Their their
Yeah.
cameo is together. Um, let's see, we got Christina Hendricks, Keith David,
Nice.
Christian
Nice.
Slater, which I believe he was in Archer for a while, and Elon Musk and more.
What? That is amazing.
This
Keith
is
David.
yeah, this is
Oh,
really an all-star
that's dope.
uh, talent here. Yeah,
I'm a big
so
Keith David fan, so I'm happy.
I I really hope it comes around. Um, I am caught up with Rick and Morty. I did think that season 4 was not as strong as the previous seasons. It got too meta, too self-deprecating, too much addressing the audience for my taste. There was one standout episode, which was a parody of all these heist movies like Oceans. You haven't seen this show, right?
Rick and Morty, I've
Yeah.
seen season 1 and 2.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
So,
my extent.
yeah, I think
So,
you might have seen so far the highest point of Rick and Morty, but season 4 was still a good time, even if it didn't stand up to the ungodly high expectations that 1 and 2 set. Really, 1 and
Holy.
2, it was really
Yeah.
good.
It's laugh
Um,
out loud good. Like I was
yeah,
howling at some
yeah.
stuff. Yeah.
So yeah, really,
What season? Hold on. What season was the Szechuan sauce? Do you remember
I think
that?
that was 3.
I think so too. I'm sorry, I
That
just
was
remembered the
funny.
Szechuan sauce.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Looking forward to it. Set to premiere on Adult Swim, which I'm not sure how accessible that is for Canadian audiences. I'm not sure what I watched it on last time. I did see, interestingly, during my commutes, I see Rick and Morty on the bus advertisements
Oh.
on the bus outside.
Oh, outside of the bus.
Outside the bus, yeah, they got the big spot.
Damn, son.
Yeah, so yeah, looks like it's gonna be a big production. Looking forward to it.
Oh, well, I gotta catch up.
Yep.
But yeah, that's good news.
All right, that's all I have.
Oh, then let's throw it back my way. I gotta ask. We were talking about wrestling earlier.
Yeah,
Now, I'll kick us off, and it might get your gears turning because I know you mentioned about a friend of yours in pro wrestling, and I'll let you take it
yeah.
uh, from there. But really, what are the best and worst wrestling storylines that you can recall? So let's start with one of the best. For me, one of the best wrestling storylines I recalled was that feud between Stone Cold Steve Austin and Bret Hart. So
Okay.
that storyline culminated in a clean execution of it was WrestleMania 13. It was a submission match, I believe, and Ken Shamrock as a special guest ref. And so Brett has a bleeding Stone Cold Steve Austin in a sharpshooter. He's drenched in blood. And
Mm,
the imagery is just like iconic of Stone Cold is drenched in blood and he's not giving up in the sharpshooter. And the fact that Brett refused to let go even though Steve passed out, Brett won, but he refused to let go of the sharpshooter because of like how much Steve, fucked with Brett throughout that whole storyline. And so it resulted in what's known as like a double turn in pro wrestling terminology, which means a good guy, aka a face, turns into a bad guy, aka a heel, and vice
right.
versa. So Stone Cold went from bad guy to good guy. Brett went from good guy for the longest time to bad guy, and that was great for both of their careers. It
Yep.
really, it was like the nitrous fuel that both of their careers needed at the time. That's one of the best. Do you have like a story you can remember that you enjoyed? Doesn't have to even be the best to you, just something
I
you
got
enjoyed.
nothing. Sorry.
No? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, let me let me gush a little bit about this worst wrestling storyline for
Okay.
me. It was a there's it was a love triangle between Matt Hardy, Kane, and Lita.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
oh my God, this was in 2004. And I know how we mentioned that was a good time, but it was also a time of like bad ideas sometimes. This was one of them to me.
Kane
So
Kane was
basically,
Kane, I don't know. Kane was really goofy looking to me.
even with the mask on or off,
I think both.
both, that's fair. Because the whole idea of him being Undertaker's brother and all that, yeah.
Yeah.
It's not for everybody, but I like it. I dug it.
Okay.
But anyway, so Kane and Lita, in storyline, they had a baby. And this new upcomer, Snitsky, he comes in. He shows up on Raw. He's been there for a while, but he takes like a mannequin baby doll, and he takes it and he punt kicks it into the crowd. So here's the thing, right? This
Are you
stands
sure
out in
this is the
my.
worst timeline?
It's one of the worst I've ever
Okay.
seen. It was one of the
Sounds pretty
worst.
entertaining so far.
It's very entertaining, but it's just it was executed in like poor taste, I
Okay,
think.
yeah.
Um, Looking back, because I was at the time I was super young, and I remember it was like mid-August 2004. We were on vacation somewhere, and we're in our city. We just went, we went out of the city and we drove back. And we were stopping at a diner that had those like an old school kind of diner where the TVs are nestled in the side of
Yeah,
the booth that you
yeah,
sit in, right? And so Monday Night Raw's on TV, and we're eating there. And I'm eating my chicken fingers. My chubby ass is eating my chicken fingers and watching Snitsky punt the baby. And I look at my brother who's sitting across from me, and we're just looking at each other and looking at the TV.
that's funny.
And I'm surprised my parents didn't like change, like get the channel changed, but they're just eating, just ignoring it. But yeah, my brother and I are sitting there, both watching this TV. We're like, what in the blue hell, as The Rock would say, is going
Yeah.
on? It was the weirdest thing ever to me, and it wasn't good either. It was just icky, just not a good storyline. There's other bad ones that I can bring up, but that stands out for me. That was
Yeah.
the gut one. But
Cool.
anyway, did you have any that you thought of or no? It's
No,
okay if you didn't.
the wrestling was something I watched on and off, and even then, when friends came over, so
Yeah, that's
I
fair.
don't
Yeah, I know you
remember
mentioned
a whole
you
lot.
had one friend who was like super into it, right?
Yeah, yeah, super into it. He was into all the. I think his favorite was Randy Orton, and
Nice.
he was into all the games, and we would go over to his place. Yeah, yeah, he was really into wrestling.
So I do want to say is like, guys, listeners, viewers, if you're on YouTube, Bard knows a lot about pro wrestling for someone who hasn't watched it nearly as much as a lot of people. Like
Mostly
I
thanks
bring
to
up,
that guy.
yeah, it's still amazing. Like I bring up Samoa Joe,
Yeah.
and he's like, I know Samoa Joe from TNA. I'm like, what? You know Samoa
Yeah.
Joe? Like, Samoa. By the way, guys, some other people are like, what? Samoa Joe was in WWE. No, he was in TNA before that.
Right.
Total nonstop action wrestling, which I enjoyed quite a lot. And then later, I was like, oh, anyway,
Yeah.
doesn't matter. Um, now this is a more open question. Is like, who is your like? Was there a wrestler that you liked the most or
Oh
no?
yeah, Rey Mysterio.
Rey Mysterio.
And I think his signature move was Rey Mysterio 69. I'm kidding.
Yeah, the 619,
Yeah, 69.
the San Diego area code or something like that. Yeah,
Is that what it
yeah,
was?
yeah. I believe 619 is the San Diego area code. Yeah,
Yeah. I
straight up.
just like his matches stood out to me because it was like it was it was a smaller guy trying to use acrobatics and momentum to give himself the edge. It was different than just watching two giant dudes slap each other, you know.
Ray was an injection into the American scene that was needed, and he.
He
The, inter-
was the original luchador?
I don't think he's the. I don't think we can call him the original luchador, but
At least he's one of
he
the biggest ones.
he's absolutely one of the biggest in the world.
Yeah.
For the longest time, there was another one. His name was in WWE. He came to WWE. He's known as Sin
Sting?
Cara.
Oh, Sin Cara. Yeah.
Sting's not a luchador, but he has the like he has the face
Yeah,
paint,
he
and
has
you
the
might
face
think,
paint, yeah.
yeah, Sting is dope though. Sting is
Yeah.
dope. I love
Yeah,
Sting.
Sin
Big
I
Sting
remember
fan.
Sin Cara.
Yeah. See, you know Sting. Like, what is that telling you? Like, you know Sting. Like, not a lot of people like who.
I know more from the video games
That's
than the
fine, but
show, but yeah.
it's I'm here saying that's impressive. For me, like my favorite wrestler easily was Undertaker.
Yeah.
You know that. Like,
Yeah, I know.
it's always been Undertaker. Everything.
Yeah.
The American badass with the bike,
Yeah.
the dead man walking, everything. Yeah, everything like the Ministry of Darkness in like the late '90s, like all that was cool. And then after like Undertaker, you can throw in my other favorite wrestlers are like Rob Van Dam, Chris Jericho, Samoa Joe, Booker T. Those
Yeah.
guys are like other favorites of mine.
Undertaker was also for some reason one of the more fun characters to play as too.
Always was because
Yeah.
the choke slam was always like whack,
Yeah,
like in a good way whack.
that's an iconic move at
I
this
love the
point.
choke
Yeah.
slam. The choke slam is one of the best moves ever in wrestling. They call it the goozle, like when you goozle someone by the throat.
Yeah.
They call it the goozle. So yeah, um,
Good
that's
shit.
my favorite wrestler. Did
Yeah.
you have a wrestler that you kind of like hated? You looked at him, or and you were like, I hate this motherfucker. Did you
Uh
have anyone like that?
I guess I didn't really get John Cena for a long time. I can I can
Yeah.
see he's kind of like the standard looking guy. It didn't seem like there was anything special about him, but
Hey, thank you. I was the same. Yeah,
yeah.
Cena was.
Wow.
That's my pick. It was my pick. Like for the longest time.
Yeah.
Sorry, my least favorite was John Cena, and then I warmed up to him as I
Yeah,
just
maybe
respected
me
him.
too. Yeah.
I respected him more and more as I got more mature and older, and I was like, you know what? No, like he busts his ass, whatever. But then it became Roman Reigns, like, and they were just shoving. He was like Roman Reigns was basically like the new Cena. That was the issue. The issue is the company would just shove him down your throat. Like he was always winning, and it was just overdone. Like,
Yeah.
you have to. You can't always have a good guy win. You
I
need to
think
have him
that's
over.
that's what ticked me off about Cena.
Yeah, he always won.
He always won because
Always.
he was like becoming the face of WWE for that era.
Dude, he was like WWE champion from like for a year, over a year. It
Yeah,
was crazy. Like '06 of September to like October of '07. It was
yeah,
crazy. Um, but yeah, it was Roman Reigns because they insisted on him being a squeaky clean good guy instead
yeah,
of like a this. He could have been a dickhead monster. Even Cena, not as much Cena, but with Roman, it was like he could have been just a monster that just fucked people up. Which is
yeah,
he's doing that now. They fixed it. Now he's no longer like just recently. Now I'm like, oh, he's fine now because he turned into a bad guy and he just beats people's ass and he's got an attitude and it's the greatest thing ever. He has a swagger and he has a presence about him, and it's just
yeah.
everything's better now. They fixed it. Finally, they realized they're like, we better stop shoving him down their throats and try this, because nothing worked. Because like all the fans were just like, why are you doing this? We're not
Right.
gonna accept. And yeah, and by the way, cheers to Roman Reigns, man. That guy beat cancer and came back to wrestle. God bless him.
Cool.
He's a hard worker,
We
man.
love that.
Both of them, both Cena and Roman are.
I
But
have a
yeah,
funny story about Cena.
go ahead.
So that friend I mentioned who was really into pro wrestling as a kid, not the sharpest guy when it came to knowing how these things work behind the scenes. So I remember him showing me a viral video at the time, John Cena versus fan rap battle.
Oh, right, right. Yeah, yeah,
You
yeah.
can look it up on YouTube. I'm sure
I
it's still
remember
there.
this.
And I remember us watching it together and having a laugh. And we're both laughing, and as we're coming down, we're like I nudge him and I say, yeah, you know this stage, right? And he's like, what? I'm like, you know, this is like it's an audience plant, from the federation, and they kind of told him what to say. Maybe
Yep.
it's like an indie musician or something, and John Cena obviously rehearsed his lines. He's like, "What are you talking about?" It's like I told him, it's like I ruined his fantasy or
Yeah, he
something.
just blew it up in front of him.
Uh,
I know what that video is. It's the fan that raps against him.
yeah,
He's wearing a
and
clock
then he
on his neck,
gets,
right?
yeah, yeah. I think
Yeah,
so.
that's
I
I
don't
know who that
remember.
is.
You can look it up on YouTube.
Yeah, for
John,
those wondering, I
yeah.
can clarify quickly. It's the guy I think that he's facing. I could be wrong. This is off the top of my head. This was like '03, and it's Brian Kendrick, who at the time was known as either Spanky or Sparky. I'm pretty sure it's Spanky. I
I
swear to
hope
God.
it's not
I
Spanky.
swear to God it was Spanky at the time. And I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's who Cena
I
rap
hope to
battled.
God you're wrong.
I might be. The people can comment down below if on the YouTube upload or
Spanky.
hit us up on Twitter. But yeah, I'm pretty sure it was Brian Kendrick, now known as Brian Kendrick, who works backstage
Okay.
in the WWE right now. Anyway, but yeah, you blew it up in front of your friend.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Anyway, yeah, I think other than that, man, we good to go.
We are good to go.
All right, guys, I gotta do the usual stuff. You know what it is. It reminds me of It's Always Sunny. You know what it is, bitch. So sub to our YouTube at Bottom Dweller Banter hyphen BDB, or just type in Bottom Dweller Banter. You're gonna find us. You got the anglerfish with the mic hanging down.
Yeah, man.
That's us. Follow us on Spotify at Bottom Dweller Banter. You can follow us on Twitter at BD Banter Podcast, all one word. You can also follow us on Instagram at Bottom Dweller Banter, all one word again. And yeah, I think that's it, man. Anything else before I segue us out of here?
Let's get out of here.
Let's get out of here. All right, guys. Now we're off to swim in the sea of life with you, fellow bottom dwellers. Much love. Stay safe. We'll catch you next time.
I forgot to play the music, but that's okay. See you guys.
That's okay. Fuck
Bye.
it. We don't give
Fuck
a
it.
damn. Fuck it. Peace.
Peace.
Peace.